Cyclone Mal heads towards Fiji. So our second storm in the southern Pacific this season is Cyclone Mal, which is a high-end tropical storm now at 14.8 degrees south, 173.1 degrees east, currently moving southwestwards, or southeastwards actually, towards the Fijian Islands. At 9 a.m. local time, 8 a.m. in Port Vila, this November 14th, it had winds estimated at 65 miles per hour or 105 kilometers per hour sustained, a pressure of 984 millibars, and moving southeast there at 15 miles per hour or 24 kilometers per hour. So a high-end tropical storm it is, no clear signs of an eye yet, but it may be hiding underneath all of that convection. Its wind field is expanding, particularly on its northeastward quadrant, extending out 135 nautical miles in that direction. There's its position displayed on the map, and with regard to localities, it is 568 kilometers from Nadi, 604 from Port Vila, 676 from Suva, 703 from Kadavu, and 1086 from Noumea on New Caledonia. Of course, it's not likely to be heading that way. There are cyclone watches and warnings in effect for large parts of Fiji. Most of the main island to the west towards Nadi is under a cyclone warning, with cyclone watches spreading out further east. Well, the main concern, to be honest, is rip currents, because I don't really figure that it's going to be wind or rain above that. It is going to be delivering a glancing blow to western Fiji. Winds are probably going to get up to 50, maybe 60 miles per hour in a few spots, and limited rainfall of up to 100 millimeters, and it will be moving through there quite quickly. So we're expecting more than anything coastal conditions to be hazardous, and that's what I've put down as the main threat right now. So its movement then moving quickly towards the southeast there, peaking probably just off the coast on Wednesday or early Thursday, and then really rapidly moving down towards the southeast and ending up sinking down towards the higher latitudes of the southern hemisphere, well to the east of New Zealand by the time it dissipates this weekend. So apart from Fiji, just the small Raoul Island is likely to be affected and nowhere else. Wind speed estimates are fairly close-knit, 65 miles per hour by us right now, 70 miles per hour by the officials of the Fiji Met Service and by the JTWC. I think they're maybe a little bit hasty, but it could well get towards that level fairly soon, and we may see a further improvement of wind speeds towards hurricane strength within the next 24 hours. Well, there's Fiji's map from their weather service, and as you can see there, the cone has Nadi just about within it, with strong winds. Will be reaching there by 6 or earlier than 6 a.m. on the 15th there, and then continuing southeastwards quickly and devolving into a low pressure system. There's the latest from the GFS model, having it peaking probably as a mid-range category 1 there before continuing southeastwards and then very quickly starting to lose its way and dropping down there towards the far south and turning post-tropical. Let's zoom in on that a little bit as it swipes there. Large parts of Fiji underneath tropical storm force winds, all of that green area there certainly means that there will be strong winds along the islands, but whether it gets to hurricane force, that's a big question mark, and only an eastward deviation would put that in the focus. There's the simulated radar imagery showing that the southern side will always be the wettest entirely during that storm's track, but mostly it misses the islands of Fiji, of course, unless we see an eastward trend in that track. Watch again as all of that red sweeps around there, maybe just a little bit around the right hand side as it moves through, but then continuing southeastwards and obviously not affecting any other land areas. There's a front there moving across the North Island of New Zealand, which in itself delivers quite a bit of rain there, which pushes the remnants of the storm towards the southeast. Now, rainfall expectations, they are fairly modest. We are expecting up to 100 millimeters on some parts of Fiji. Of course, the main islands, particularly Viti Levu, which is the western main island, we could be seeing up to 100 millimeters of rainfall there. Maybe slightly more in isolated locations, but generally there we're showing 3 inches, which is less than 100 actually, and across the whole of the rest of the islands maybe creeping up towards 2 inches, 500 millimeters. Over Tonga as well, possibly similar amounts, and much less so in Vanuatu and New Caledonia, which will probably be quite far away from the storm in the end. Sea surface temperatures are only good for a short amount of time. As we've seen on many tropical weather bulletins in the past on Force 13, you'll know that the temperatures really drop off a cliff as the storms pass Fiji at this time of year. So 27 degrees Celsius now, quickly falling to 25 just after it passes Viti Levu, and then quickly down to 20 degrees by the time you get a further 12-24 hours beyond. And so those temperatures will cool very quickly, and that will spell the end of Cyclone Mal. Well, satellite imagery is fairly impressive right now, although no real signs of an eye on the visible or infrared imagery at the moment. Here's a closer look at that visible imagery on the early morning pictures from today, and you'll just see the islands of Fiji starting to draw closer on the southeastern corner of that image. You can see all of this imagery live on the Force 13 website, force13.com/satellite. Large amounts of convection blowing up into the minus 80 degrees Celsius range, and a little bit beyond that in a few spots there as well, maybe the mid to high minus 80s in a few moments. But it doesn't look particularly symmetric. It is fighting off wind shear, that's plain to see in the northern area there, and it's just got a little bit more work to do on that southern side by the looks of things before it really starts to get going. But I think it is fair to say that we'll probably see a Category 1 peak, with the outside chance of seeing something a little bit stronger, but hopefully not to the extent of Lola.